Good morning everyone, it's Pierre speaking. It is Tuesday morning, it's the 16th of May 2017. Time is about 8:30 GMT time when I made this video clip. Starting off with the Euro US dollar daily chart. Why the daily chart? Well, last week we closed 50 pips lower than the opening. So we were closing lower. We can't flip the 4 hour. We need to flip the daily. The main trend is still up. If we quickly go to the 4 hour chart, we can't flip this area here to get a long zone because price closed lower than the opening, and that was the case on most pairs that we look at this week. Currently I have a trading zone between 803 coming down to 684. That will be the zone. Before we get to the zone between the 38.2 FIP and the 50% FIP, there's loads of EMAs there plus the monthly main pivot point. So that will be the obvious area where I would look for longs on this pair. Currently, price is getting very close to a monthly resistance 1 pivot point. We do have MACD divergence where price is trending up, MACD is trending down, so I'm expecting a roadblock at 1049 and possible shorts that can set up from there. Euro JPY 4 hour chart. Last week we closed 25 pips higher. Main trend is up on the daily and the 4 hour. So we can flip the previous week from the bottom to the top to get a zone. We're making new highs this morning. For the new guys out there, if we make new highs without a pullback, follow this candle. Even if we go up to here without a correction, follow it so that the Earth and Sky trading zone can move. Currently, we have a zone starting at 124.01, coming down to 123.49. In the zone, we've got a weekly main pivot point and a 55 EMA, so that will be our obvious areas, 123.77, 123.54 for look for those possible longs. Now, if we look at MACD, MACD is quite high, and we need to keep our eyes on MACD for possible MACD divergence. Reason for it is, stochastic is overbought, MACD is high, we're on the other side of a weekly pivot point, so we're overbought, and price can slow down here, giving us MACD divergence, showing us or giving us a warning sign that correction is coming. I will keep my eyes on this psychological level 125 and then 125.33 for possible correction trades, counter trades. Euro pound daily chart. I'm looking at the daily here, guys. The 4 hour tells us to long, the daily tells us it's mixed. Last week we closed 27 pips higher than the opening. My bias is still a little bit on the short side on the euro pound. We are busy breaking to the other side of this 200 EMA here at 8502. Okay, I'm not convinced with this one yet that it is bullish. However, I will keep my eyes. If we do now break to the upside, I will keep my eyes on 8579 for possible short setups. Why? If we look to the left of the chart, previous support resistance, it's a monthly pivot point, psychological level just to the upside. If price don't get to that area and we turn around, the safest will be for price to close underneath 8499 again. It's the psychological level. There's a 200 EMA and a 55 EMA before I will consider taking any shorts. Pound US dollar daily chart. Why the daily chart? Here too, last week we closed 78 pips lower than the opening, so we can't flip the 4 hour. We have to shift to the daily. The daily is still along on the main trend. If we flip that, we flip from the bottom to the top. Then we've got a trading zone 2676 coming down to 2519. Before we get to the zone at 38.2 FIP at 2750, we have a monthly pivot point. There's two 200 EMAs plus a 55 EMA. So that is multiple reasons. That will be my area where I want to go for longs. What can you guys spot here? On Monday, I spoke about MACD divergence. Look at that. You need to get your eyes in here. Price trending up, MACD trending down. Okay. Early warning signs that there's a possible correction coming. Now, price is camping out at 2908, which is the 4 hour 55. If we break to the downside, then we will go and visit this area, and that will be the obvious area where I would like to go long again. Keep your eyes on this psychological level of 1.3000 there as well for possible counter trades. If we look at the pound JPY daily chart, why the daily chart? Last week we closed minus 16 pips lower than the opening. main trend is still up. So if we flip the daily from the bottom to the top, then we've got a zone starting at 141.83 coming down to 138.69. In the zone, we've got a monthly pivot point and a 200 EMA at 141.44, so that will be the area where we can look for longs. But before we get to that area, we have a roadblock between 142.35 and 143.51. It's the 38.2 FIP, there's a 200 EMA and a 55 EMA is moving up there as well, so that will be the main area for me to look for support and then to take longs. Currently, price is camping up here at the 55 EMA. There's a monthly pivot point psychological level. This is a key level, 147.11, 148.11 for possible roadblocks and then counter shorts. However, saying that, I would prefer if we can break this 55 to the downside at 146 first before I will consider taking any shorts on that one. Aussie US dollar daily chart. Why the daily chart? If we go to the 4-hour chart, we can see that this morning we already were on the other side of last week's high, so we can't flip the 4-hour to get a short zone. I say again, we're already on the other side of last week's high, so we have to go to the daily chart. If we flip that, we flip from the high to the low, then we've got a zone 7485 going up to 7562. In the zone, we've got a 200 EMA, a 55 and another 200 EMA. So areas to keep an eye on: 7483, 7504, 7527 for possible shorts. Now price is busy having a problem at the 58.2 FIP at 7448. Okay, so that can be the first roadblock for us. But we've got a support area here at 7408, so be careful with that if we do get a short setup. If we don't get to this upside, let price break 7402 first, close on the other side of 7402 before considering taking any shorts. But as I say, my main area 7483, 7500, 7527 shorts on that one. Aussie JPY daily chart. I don't like this pair at the moment, guys. I don't like how price whipsaw through all the EMAs. It's 200 EMAs. They're usually big, strong support resistance levels. Price is just giving it the middle finger, whipsawing through it, and I will sit on my hands with it. I will consider taking a short from 8508. It's previous support resistance. It's a monthly pivot point back down to all these EMAs, or a long from 8149. Previous support resistance, monthly pivot point back up to 8328, 8370 on that one. US dollar JPY 4-hour chart. Everything shouts here to look for longs. Last week we closed 66 pips higher, so we flipped previous week from the bottom to the top. Then we've got a zone 113.39 coming down to 112.89. This is a key area for me, 113.19. That is support level. It's a 55 EMA in the trading zone, previous support resistance there. So while that 55 holds at 113.19, the bias is to look for longs. If it breaks, be careful. We can go and visit this level at 112.35. The EMAs will move up. Then I will re-look to long from 112.35 and the psychological level of 112 if price do break the 55 to the downside. Possible counter trades at 114.56. US dollar CAD daily chart. Here too I'm flipping the daily chart. The reason for this, if we go to the 4-hour, price already broke last week's low, so we can't flip the 4-hour to get a long zone. We will have to go to the daily chart. If we do that, then we've got a trading zone. We first have to flip from previous low to the high, and we've got a zone 3508 coming down to 3365. In the trading zone at the 50% flip, we have a psychological level of 3500. There's a monthly pivot point. There's a 55 at 3518, so that will be a big support level. If we look to the left of the chart, previous support resistance. Just before that, at 3575, we have a 4-hour 200 EMA at the 38.2 FIP. So I'll keep my eyes on 3575, 3558, 3513, this area here for possible support before I will go long. Counter trades, I will only touch it when you get to 3793, 3817. US dollar index daily chart. Last week I showed you guys that this was a big roadblock. We had EMAs there, a monthly pivot point, and price turned around there, and we're busy tumbling. I think that was on Friday when I showed you. Now if we make new lows here this morning, follow it with your FIB so that the Earth and Sky trading zone can move. Currently we have a zone starting at 99.90 going up to 100.62. Before the zone at the 38.2 FIB, 99.56, we still have that cluster EMAs plus the monthly main pivot point. There's a 200 EMA, 55 EMA, monthly main pivot point. We had previous support resistance there, so that will be the obvious area to short this one. As I said, if we make new lows, follow it with your FIB so that the zone can move. Possible support area at 97.97. It's a psychological level, so possible counter trades can set up from there. That's it, guys. If you've got any questions, please pop in at the forum and I will be able to help you there. Have an awesome one. Cheers.